Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Rachel Ring, and it is my pleasure to share with you today Reading Plus. For those of you who are not familiar with Reading Plus, we are a web-based fluency program and are totally devoted to helping students improve their silent reading capabilities. Because of that, we work with students in grades 3 and above. It's really that point in third grade where kids make that leap from oral reading fluency to silent reading fluency. And because we are devoted to silent reading, it's really at third grade where we pick up with students. Reading Plus is an adaptive intervention and will live alongside your core program. So let's talk about what's in our way a little bit and what we know to be true. Well, we certainly all know that the COVID slide is real. We certainly know that at this point, lots of students are not motivated to read. And we know that many students can't read well enough to learn new content. And of course, everything hinges on reading. What we also know is that after about third grade, teachers don't have the time to teach reading. These teachers are now teaching content. So those kids who have not learned how to read well by third grade tend to fall behind. Let's look at two groups of students. We know that there are efficient readers who do quite well as they go through their academic careers, and we know that there are inefficient students. They read inefficiently. Now, this is kind of a funny word to describe a reader. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at a student and how she's actually reading text. You're going to see a little red dot go through the text, and this is where the student's eyes actually met with the text as she was reading silently. So everything at Reading Plus is based on silent reading. And what you can see here is that she's attacking the text in a rather inefficient way, meaning that she has lots of regression. She's going back. She's skipping words. She's fixating on words. She's sticking on words. When we see a student reading like this, we know that one of the things that happens is that comprehension is quite difficult. How does this inefficiency affect her? What does it look like for her? Well, it looks like this. Text is coming to her out of sequence. That makes it really hard for her to get through the text, and it's very taxing on a student. These are our students who, after about 10 minutes of reading, tell you that they're tired. And they probably are, because they're working very, very hard to get through the text. This results in low comprehension, and all of this results in a student who is not very motivated to read. So how does this inefficiency affect Carla's future, her academic future? Well, we know that these students who are inefficient have lower achievement across subject matters. We know that they have difficulty with standardized tests. We know that they have, challenges in managing that increased volume of reading that they're going to be asked to handle as they progress through school. And we know, of course, that these students are not as likely to be college ready. So let's talk about Reading Plus and what it is. As I said before, Reading Plus is focused on helping students develop silent reading proficiency. We do that with an initial assessment that places them in the program. We work with them on increasing fluency and building stamina. We help them bolster their comprehension skills. We work on increasing vocabulary. And unlike many other programs, we do help students track and learn about their interest in reading and their motivation to read. Let's take a look at data. We work with kids in all three tiers, and you can see here that in about 60 hours in the program, kids make on average about 2.5 grade levels of growth. Think about that not only in terms of data, but how that might affect how a student feels in terms of their reading. I know that as a struggling reader, I would be pretty happy to make 2.5 grade levels of growth. For our tier 2 students, in about 40 hours in the program, students we see on average again make about two grade levels of growth. And for our tier 1 kids, in only 20 hours in the program, students are going to make a grade level of growth. So, quite impactful here. Who is Reading Plus appropriate for? Well, as we've talked about, any student in grades 3 through 12, students in all tiers in your RTI model and all students in your MTSS model, English language learners, students with learning disabilities, and advanced readers. Now I'm going to say there is a category that is not appropriate for Reading Plus, and these are your kids who have not mastered the foundational skills of reading. So if you have students still immersed in phonemic awareness, blending sounds, sound symbol relationship, Reading Plus is not the program for them. We're very, very proud that we have the strongest designation in evidence for ESSA. So Reading Plus was found to be strong evidence to support ESSA. Let's take a look at what the instructional model looks like. Every one of your students who comes to Reading Plus will start with an adaptive assessment. This is the assessment that places kids in the program, only about 30 minutes long, so you can give it to your entire district, in 30 minutes. We've done it before, very, very doable. That assessment is what places students in the program, and we are going to place them in one or all of the 4 categories. So the heart and soul of Reading Plus, if you will, is our reading component. This is where kids come in, they read, they do comprehension activities, and this is where all of your good data is going to come from. Kids also have the ability to do a vocabulary program, all within Reading Plus. There's a writing component, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and if your students are reading silently below 125 words a minute, there's also a visual skills component that will help them attack that text. So as I said, every student starts out with an assessment, this 30-minute assessment. Well, what is it that we're looking at when we assess kids? Well, we're looking at silent reading efficiency, how well they get through the text, how easily they get through the text. We look, of course, at their comprehension abilities. Comprehension is the ultimate goal of reading. We look at where they are in terms of vocabulary. And then, again, we look at these softer values of reading. Do I feel like I can get better as a reader? What confidence do I have as a reader? And where's my interest? Once they're finished with the assessment, they're going to be brought to the program, and the program is going to offer them 3 different components. The reading component, again, the heart and soul of Reading Plus, the vocabulary component, and visual skills. Now, what I'm going to show you next is the secret sauce for Reading Plus. This is what we do at Reading Plus to help students achieve silent reading proficiency. This is based on decades of research, and this is something that no other reading program offers your students. This is called the guided window, and you will see that we are literally guiding kids through the text in a proficient way. What I want you to know here, of course, is that this is adapted to every single one of your students. Every student will come to the text on the text level that's appropriate for them, and they will come to the guided window at the rate that's appropriate for them. So you could have a class of 30 kids and they'll all be in different places because it is based on their individual needs to come to get to proficient reading. I want to talk about the kind of texts that they'll see when they come to Reading Plus, because we take a lot of pride in it. The ILA tells us that children need texts that are windows, mirrors, and doors. So let's talk about that for a minute. We want children, when they come to Reading Plus, we want them to see themselves. We want them to see their own experience. We want them to see where they live. We want them to see what their family looks like, so they can see a mirror of their experience. Very, very important for children to be able to see themselves in what they read. But of course, we want them to see things that are not like them. We want them to have experiences beyond the boundaries of their own lives. And so we offer students just a wide and deep library of complex texts that they'll be able to see when they come to Reading Plus. Outside of the reading program, there is a vocabulary program. We base it on 2,400 solid academic words that all kids need to know by the time they graduate high school. Those 2,400 vocabulary words, because they come from rich morphological families, morph into about 10,000 words. And those 10,000 words are very intentionally embedded into the Reading Plus content. So students will see all 10,000 words in context as they work through the program. As students work through the program, when they get 80% or better on a comprehension check, they will also get a writing prompt. This is very teacher-based. Teachers will say, go to your writing file on your dashboard and pull up a writing prompt. They can write directly in Reading Plus. If it's a story they want to write about, but they've read about it 3 weeks ago, they can pull up that story again. And then you can see here very clearly there's a really nice editing capability between students and teachers as they work on writing. The reading component is followed by 10 comprehension questions. Those questions are aligned to the 9 comprehension anchor standards and the 21 comprehension sub-skills. What's really nice for your educators is that we track that in Reading Plus, and they can go to a report and they can see who in their class is struggling with the same comprehension skill. So here this teacher has 4 kids all struggling with examining genre. And so as the teacher, I would say, well, come to my back table. Let's focus instruction for you exactly where you need it. So teachers can see this by the class, and they can also see this by the student. We don't just tell teachers to come to the back table and leave them. We give them lesson plans and resources that really make focusing that instruction for kids very, very doable. These resources are all downloadable and all very appropriate for hybrid learning. So in a nutshell, this is Reading Plus. What I want to end with today is the offer of a pilot. What better way to have your educators learn what Reading Plus is, and you can do that all while your kids are making progress. So a pilot of Reading Plus is 8 weeks long. We fully supported by our in-house pilot team. A pilot is at no cost to you. And at the end of your pilot, we'll have just a nice opportunity to meet together to review those results. So I'd like to thank you all for coming today. Again, just to wrap it up, Reading Plus is an adaptive intervention program that really focuses on silent reading for students in grades 3 to 12. So thank you for coming, and let us know if you have any questions.